Okay, happy Spiritual Sunday to everyone. Those of you around the world and those of you here. Welcome. Yay, okay, it's good. Like we were saying before, the first thing you appreciate, or at least Kabbalistically, the first thing we're supposed to appreciate is just opening our eyes in the morning, right? Once you open your eyes, okay, at least you have a shot at another day. Person doesn't open their eyes, they're going to have a shot in a few years after they come back again, but that's a different issue. Well, let's get started because we have some amazing stuff to talk about, I hope. How many of you remember everything about yesterday? Can you remember everything happened to you? Really, everything? Okay, so except for one lady here who's saying she's got a photographic memory, the rest of us, even yesterday, we already forgot some things, yes? Tell me you never forgot your keys, or you never forgot your glasses, or you walked out with something that you were supposed to take to the office. Never happened to you? Always, okay. So this is why every week we do this affirmation, because we tend to forget, right? Remember, our negativity, that parasite we call in our head, that negative voice, our challenger, it's had a head start, right? It was born with us when we came into this world. Unfortunately, until we come to the center, we don't even realize that it's not us. So it's got whatever age you came to the center, that's how much head start that negative voice had. And that's why every week we're going to keep affirming the same thing. We have to keep remembering. If it's hard to remember some of the things we did yesterday, or you're going to the office and you forget an important paper, so how much more the light of the Creator? And that opponent in our head is programmed by us, as we'll talk a little bit today, but is programmed by us to make us forget, or to tempt us to forget, to tempt us to act in a limited way, a negative way, a reactive way, a self-centered way, a self-fearful way. That's it. So our job is to counter it, as we'll remind ourselves today, because I want to go there, but we only came here to just let our light shine, have eternal bliss. The sad part is, as my teachers, the Rav and Karen, always called it, people love to hug their chaos. Why? Why is it people love to hug their chaos? Because it's not so easy to get out of your chaos. So it's easier to let the opponent justify and rationalize why we stay in our chaotic, metaphysical mud, right? A life of anything but eternal bliss. There was an old saying, even before I came to Kabbalah, I've shared with you over the years, I spent 10 years studying other teachings and teaching things till I was literally, thank goodness, brought here to the Kabbalah Center. And they used to say, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you'll do something about it. But what does that mean? That means until a person is really overwhelmed with pain or discomfort, they're going to hold on to their pain and suffering. Like I heard people years ago, they used to say, well, at least they know where their pain is. They know when it attacks, they know how it attacks, and they know what they need to do about it. Well, why don't you do something to get rid of it? Oh, no, because if they try and do something to get rid of it, it might get worse. How come nobody ever said, if they try and do something about it, it might get better? But everybody basically, no, there are aches and pains and this and that. They know how to deal with, like when the weather gets a certain way, they can already expect to have the aches in the knees, aches in the muscles, aches this and this and this. Why not try something else? No, they don't want to make it any worse. Isn't the possibility also making it better? Yes or yes? Exactly. So that's what you and I are learning, and that's why, as we're about to do now, okay, let me put it here for those here. We're going to say it together, just to keep infusing in our consciousness, sort of erasing all the limitation and the negativity we've grown up and grown accustomed to, and we want to rewrite that script. So let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So remember that, because we're going to make use of that today. So I want to start out with, those of you who know what the Zohar is. It says in the Zohar, something we know, we talk about it all the time, but this is its source. Light can only come out of darkness. Goodness can only come out of bad. Light cannot come from light. Good doesn't come from good. And I'll give you a way of understanding that, and I want to go maybe a little deeper for some of you. But let me ask you, this morning, in a way we just mentioned it, right now as you sit here, are you really overjoyed, like ecstatic and exuberant, that your heart is pumping and the blood is flowing? Or do you just think it's the usual way, right? You woke up, the blood flows, the heart pumps, the lungs breathe, right? Everything just works. But we're not overjoyed. We're not like, wow, I am so amazed and so happy. No, we just take it for usual. So this is why, just to give you a brief reminder, in the endless world, those of you who haven't taken Kabbalah 1, take Kabbalah 1 online or come to a class if you're near a center. But in the endless world, before the Big Bang, how did we exist? We existed in a world of infinite light. The Creator had this light, wanted to share it, created our soul, one soul, a vessel, and then filled the vessel with light. So then in the same way, what, if you can think about it, what were we experiencing in the endless world? Light. That's it, we experienced light. But we couldn't have absolute, true fulfillment. Why? Because like this, the blood flows, the heart pumps, we just take it for granted. Thank God it does, but it doesn't make us any more happy because we just expect it to be. So in the endless world, because there was no darkness, how could we truly appreciate the fact that we were living in the light? Besides the details we learn, that the only way we could have true eternal fulfillment like the Creator has is by acting like the Creator. And in the endless world, because there was no emptiness to share our light, there was no darkness to shine our light into, how could we even act like the Creator? So we're just sitting in the light, but we're not appreciating it. Not taking it for granted in a negative way, but like we said, I mean, heaven forbid somebody's heart stops, and then they zap them with electricity and the heart starts working again. At least for the first 5 minutes, how does that person feel now? Oh, pumping again. But 10 minutes before it stopped pumping, they were like us. Okay, it's pumping. That's usual. What can I do next? What can I get more? You understand? That's the idea. And that's what we want to understand. So how did it start? So you and I in the endless world, as that one entity, the vessel filled with the light, we decided, let's pull a curtain, because if light is infinite, you can't run away from it. The only thing you do is metaphorically close your eyes, or in our case, we pulled a curtain, and we created, from our point of view, this physical universe. We created the Big Bang, because we wanted to create a place where we could act like the Creator and really have true lasting fulfillment, a true sense of joy and happiness and appreciation. So what's the first thing we created in this world besides the stars and the planets and everything else? We put ourselves in the Garden of Eden, right? And those of you who are new, the Kabbalists teach the 5 books of Moses, the Bible is true. Those people did exist and those things happened. But the more important thing is, what were they showing us by their actions? That is the technology of the universe that we call Kabbalah, the universal laws of the soul, and it's the only thing that's universal in every person on earth is the soul. After that, you're male, female, black, white, yellow, brown, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, there's all kinds of distinctions. You're talented in sports, you're not talented in sports, whatever it may be, right? There's a difference, but the soul is always the same. The soul is always the same. So we go back to that beginning. We're sitting in the Garden of Eden. And even as you and I imagine, if you were sitting in the Garden of Eden right now, how would you feel? Okay, forget you guys. How about you guys out there in cyberspace? Right? Wouldn't you be amazed? The Garden of Eden, you think of Garden of Eden as heaven on earth, nirvana, utopia, all those other words we use for it. It'd be wow. No? Yeah. Unless, maybe you guys, but I'm not yet, can't tell you that I'm yet 100% totally blissed out and eternally fulfilled. So to be in the Garden of Eden would be that difference between where I am now and my 100%. So here we are, as Adam and Eve, we're in the Garden of Eden. And just that you'll know, Adam and Eve encompassed every soul on earth. It's not like Adam and Eve were 2 different people and we're different. We're all part of their soul. Or all of us together were those souls. So what happened at that moment? Here's Adam and Eve, and they're in the Garden of Eden. They just left the endless world, all the light, no darkness, no ultimate appreciation and true lasting fulfillment because they've never seen darkness. They come to the Garden of Eden, also no darkness. It's just amazing. So again, the same idea. No frame of reference, right? It's just Garden of Eden. So again, usual, ordinary. You wake up, your heart's beating, the blood's flowing, all that stuff. So now here comes the secret, which most people don't know. Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center 100 years ago, he explained, because if you read just the Bible, remember the Bible is only a code. Nobody on earth can truly take the Bible literally. And I'll give you a quick example if you're saying, oh yes you can. So how do you have evening and morning? Right? There was evening and morning day 1, evening and morning day 2, evening and morning day 3. In our terms, what makes the evening? The sun goes down, the moon comes up. Right? What's the day? The sun exists, is shining, and the moon doesn't. But how could there be evening and morning day 1, 2, 3 if the moon and the sun weren't created till the 4th day? Oh, yeah, exactly. So, hello. So obviously there's another code, and this is what Kabbalah is offering us. So let's just go with that. So the code from Rav Ashlag, the secret he's revealing is there wasn't really the sin of Adam and Eve. They were meant to disconnect from the Garden of Eden, to have something other than the Garden of Eden, something that didn't look quite so nice or quite so good or whatever you want to call it. So now they could distinguish it. Now when they went from the darkness to the light, you appreciate the light. When they went from chaos to order, they appreciate the order. Like we said, the person who has, heaven forbid, a heart attack, or a person has a near accident, right? Or the car gets there's no nothing. How do they feel? Ho-hum? Is that an everyday occurrence? No, it's amazing. So again, 5 minutes, they appreciate, oh my God, they're going to drive safer. They so much appreciate their life. All the people that they hated 5 minutes ago, they don't care about. I wish them well. So all they're thinking is about how happy they are that they're still alive for 5 minutes. Then they'll go back to whatever. You follow? But this is the idea. So Rav Ashlag reveals the secret that they were meant, as it's called, to eat of the tree of knowledge and good and evil. But, and there's yes, okay. There's a big but. Okay. Really? Okay. A big but? I'm saying that's it. Okay. That's it there, because I'm hearing, tell them, big but. Okay. There's a big but. They were not meant to forget about the light that they came from. That's, if you want to call it the sin, that was the real sin. That was the real mistake. Not leaving the Garden of Eden, not eating of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Because by understanding the difference between the tree of knowledge, good and evil, we could appreciate the tree of life. But what unfortunately happened is more and more disconnection from the light, more and more forgetting about the light, and more enmeshed in the world of 5 senses, time, space, and motion, the car, the house, the money, whatever it is, all those things. That was the real problem. Okay? Now, so what Rav Ashlag teaches us, what happened at that moment? The light that we, because it's us, lost appreciation for, how does he explain it? We took the sparks of light in our soul, collectively it's called 288 sparks, and we placed it into what we would call the darkness, or those of you who know the term, the klipa, spiritual mud. Meaning we empowered, let's call it the spiritual mud of fear, anger, jealousy, greed, insecurity, stinginess, lack, limitation, all those things. That's what we did. Now, so what's our job then? Go back to the Garden of Eden. How are we going to do that? How are we going to go back to a world of infinite light with true lasting fulfillment? We have to elevate those sparks. We have to take those sparks of our soul's light out of the mud. How do we do that? Kabbalah 1, I tell you, there's no substitute for Kabbalah 1 at least once a year. Every challenge comes our way. every time our buttons are pushed, there's our opportunity to elevate and take back our sparks of our soul's light. Meaning we have to go into the darkness. We have to step into the chaos. We have to embrace the negativity in order to extract the light from it. That's why not everybody is here learning. Because not everybody at this point is willing to do that. How many of us willing to embrace? Think, what did you used to do before you came to the center and learn? Challenge came, a nasty person or whatever. Sure, first after you scream and yell at them, or get scared of them, then what do? Then you run away, or push them away, or never go back to that place again. You think you ran away from it. But we know in that experience is our soul's light, that we need that light to be complete. So what happens? The universe just sends us another person to say or do the similar thing, and another and another and another. Look at your life and you'll see repetitive patterns. Yeah, the bodies will look different, the cities will look different, the offices will look different, the places will look different, the scenery will be different, but it's the same thing over and over again. The same button being pushed. Why? Because the universe wants us to have all of the light of our soul, wants us to have eternal bliss. So if we don't take the sparks of light back, then we're missing. We're missing, and you can't stay missing forever. Can't. And you haven't ever done not a crossword, well, okay, even a cross, you ever do crossword puzzles? Or put together a jigsaw puzzle? Have you ever seen one? Yes. So what would it be like if you opened the page, like some people, the thing was, whatever, it was the New York Times crossword puzzle. Ooh, right, on the subway, everybody with a crossword puzzle. So what happens if they go and they open the New York Times and they're so looking forward to the crossword puzzle, and as they open up the page, it's all filled in? It's not fun. What if you open the jigsaw puzzle box, right? 5,000 pieces, but as you open it up, it's like a tablecloth. You just unfold it and there it is, all assembled, 5,000 pieces. That's not fun. That's not fun either. Why? Because we have to have a challenge. Only when we overcome a challenge are we happy. Only when we have a sense of victory, meaning we overcome, we make an effort, exert ourselves to achieve something, then we feel truly victorious. Then we truly feel the satisfaction. So this is what you and I did as Adam and Eve. We said, okay, we've had endless light in the endless world. We had the Garden of Eden here. Let's go out and make a little chaos. And then when we put things back in order, we'll be ecstatic because we made an effort to do something. We made an effort to recreate, so to speak, the Garden of Eden, our piece of heaven on earth. So this is why there has to be challenges in our life, because we're not sitting here revealing 100% of our light. So the part we're not revealing has to come back to us. And the only way that can happen is through the challenges that remind us we're not sharing kindness enough, we're not being generous enough, we're not being forgiving enough, we're not being humble enough, we're not being tolerant, compassionate, whatever it is. That's all it is. That's all the challenge is. Stop taking it, I don't want to say too seriously, but stop taking it personally. Maybe we'll use that. Because the moment it's personal, then that opponent, that parasite in our head, takes over, and then all you can think about is how you're going to get back at that person. What a terrible thing it is. How do you run away? How do you deal with it? What are you going to do? So you're so involved in it that you're leaving those sparks of light in the mud while you're trying to figure out what's going on. No, just go retrieve the sparks of light. Does it really matter? Think about what's valuable to you. Think in your head what's valuable. Health, peace, prosperity, a good relationship, whatever you might consider. So imagine now there's a big mud puddle, like a jacuzzi of mud, and your worst enemy is in it. Not a violent person, let's not go there, it'll make it a little easier, but whatever they said or they did something that you just can't stand them, and they're in that mud puddle. But you can also perceive that in that same mud puddle is your, whatever it is, your greatest reward, the greatest thing you want. Are you going to look and say, I'm not going in there because of them? Or are you going to jump in spite of them? I don't care they're there. They did what they did. Okay, I hated them up to that moment, but I want what that is. My peace of eternal peace, prosperity, the right person in my life, whatever it may be. At that moment, you're not going to care about them. So that's what we're learning here. Don't take it personally, whatever they say to you, because it's never personal anyway. That's a big illusion. Big illusion. And if you remind me, maybe we'll talk about that next week. I'll give you more details, because I want to continue with this. But how not to take it personal, how whatever they say to you is not personal, no matter what it sounds like. It's up to you. If you don't remind me, it's not going to be next week, okay? Facebook me. So when I'm working at my desk, I'll remember that's the topic for next week. Because it is. And anyway, let's go. You guys are great. Okay. So if you think then, the challenges come and go. How many of you, forgive me, but how many of you were around in the 70s? Disco. So you remember when you go to the disco, the thing that made the disco, one of the things that made it like the most fun? The strobe light, right? You're dancing in the strobe light. Okay. Life is like that strobe light. You have the times that are good, and then comes the dark spots. And then there's the times that are good and the dark spots. Can you not look at your life and see that? Like a strobe light. On, off, on, off, on, off. Only when you're dancing in the strobe light, it's fun. When you're living the strobe light like that, it's not very fun, is it? Now you come to Kabbalah. What are we talking about today? Did you have to face the darkness? Because if you don't face the darkness, you can't extract your light from it. So let me give you a few examples. Oh, just another way of looking at it. Like we said with waking up in the morning. So hopefully none of you have had anything like a heart attack in the last, hopefully never, but let's say at least for a few years. So for the last few years, like we said, you wake up, it's the same old, same old. Yeah, it's nice that it's the same old, same old. Our heart is pumping, our lungs are going, we, work and do and all of that. That's nice. But it doesn't add to our life. That's why the Zohar says, light can only come out of darkness. Because the light you already have is the light you have. Where's the rest of your light? In that mud, in that darkness. So you got to step into it. Or it's brought to you through those challenges. So don't be ashamed of your darkness. Don't be ashamed or ignore or deny when you fall into a little fear, anger, or jealousy, or whatever it may be. No. Again, don't take it personally, even on yourself. Pause and just say, okay, here's my chance to extract light out of the darkness. And when I do that, what happens? My light is more enlightened. My life is more enlightened because now I'm shining more light. So let me give you a couple examples. So here's how we do it. You ever gone into a movie theater? Like when the show's going? You know how when you walk from the outside into the inside, you got to adjust your eyes for a moment because it's dark? And when you first walk in, because you came from the light, right, it looks completely pitch black. You can't see anything. And then you stand for a minute, and your eyes adjust, and now you can start to see at least, walk in the road so you don't step on somebody or hit the chairs or whatever it is, and then you sit in your seat and you watch the movie. So Kabbalah, what are we learning to have here? So this is, we are teaching you how to have Kabbalistic night vision glasses. You know what night vision glasses are? Yeah. If you're a spy, if you're in the service, military, you go out at night when it's dark, no stars, no moon, no nothing. You don't shine light because you don't want to be seen by the opponent. You put on these glasses that are more sensitive than our eyes are to the light that exists. So you put on those glasses and now you can see. So you can find whatever it is you're looking for. So the center is teaching you how to put on Kabbalistic night vision goggles. And here's an example. So think of somebody you don't like. Okay, I just want to see the faces go, right? Think of someone you don't like. Now, think of why you don't like them. That's your darkness. Forget them. We're not saying they're okay or they did something good. No, it's not about them. But your dislike is your darkness. Feel that darkness. Like you walk into a dark room and you have to cross the room, but you're not familiar with the room. You don't know what obstacles there are. How do you feel? You don't feel very good. So that sense of dislike, it's not a pleasant feeling, is it? Even as I just asked you to think about it. Yeah, I could see the looks. I could hear. I could feel. Didn't like it. Doesn't feel good to think about somebody you dislike. But that now, what we're learning today, is such a powerful secret. You step into the darkness, you put on your Kabbalistic night vision goggles, and what do you see now? Now you see the light of forgiveness, compassion, kindness that was hidden in the darkness of your dislike, in the emotions of not feeling good. I don't like them, what they did, it was terrible. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's their issue. Your issue is put on those Kabbalistic glasses, see the light of compassion and kindness and forgiveness, and then go get that spark of light. Now, once you pick up that spark of forgiveness and compassion and kindness, now, what do we learn to do? You want to take it out of the darkness. But while you're in the state of dislike, it's still in the darkness. It's still in the mud. So what do we learn? You got to extract it. And how do you do it? By now shining the light with your consciousness. Take that light from your soul of forgiveness, compassion, and kindness, and just beam a ray of light towards that person. Now your light is brighter, your darkness is dissipated, and you're feeling more peace. And because like attracts like, if you are sending that added spark of forgiving light to that person, the universe will find a way to bring back to you when you need it, forgiveness. And let's be honest, who in this room, who watching us around the world, doesn't need forgiveness for something? How do you know? Or let me remind you, if you can't think of anything, just think of something you have guilt towards or regret about. There's where you need forgiveness. So when we're giving forgiveness, the universe will give us forgiveness in return. So it's to our advantage, one, to be willing to step into the darkness because we know how to put on those Kabbalistic night vision goggles and find the sparks of light that other people may not see, but we can now. Extract it out of the mud and let it shine. Or think of something else. Think of something that you're missing. Think of something you're missing, whether you're missing love, or you're missing money, whatever you feel you're missing. And again, it doesn't feel good, does it? That's your darkness. So you can stay like that and say, well, I'll try and deal with it, or I'll stay away from it, or I won't think about it, or whatever. It doesn't change the darkness. The only thing that will take the darkness away is what? Light. You can try and forget, but you can't because you're still immersed in the darkness. So think of whatever you're missing and feel it. And feel how not good it feels. But make it right now before anything else has to happen. Make it now so bad a feeling. Like the Zohar says, light only comes out of darkness and good can come only out of bad. So make it in your mind feeling already so bad that you want to do everything you can do to stop that, to transform it, to take the light out of the darkness. And that's where you're motivated. So then what do? Go in there, put on the night vision goggles. What are you missing? Whatever you think you're missing, if you're new, start to learn. But you and I know the light is infinite, fills our soul 100%. We're not missing the light. We're missing the revelation of light. You walk in a dark room with a flashlight. Are you missing the light? No, you just didn't turn on the flashlight. But you've got it in your hand. So the Creator filled us with light. Our job in this world, like we said, is just express it. So the metaphor of digging into the mud, stepping into our darkness, facing those challenges, is to be in there, find where in our soul is hiding that spark of happiness, joy, peace, whatever it may be. So whatever you feel you're missing in that darkness, that's where it exists. So you have to put on those glasses and remember, yes, the Creator gave us health, peace, love, prosperity, protection, all the good stuff, because that's all the Creator is. Our job is now, as we understand, from the time of Adam and Eve, when we put it in the mud, to go find it in the mud and then let it be revealed. So whatever you feel you're missing, start acting that way. Some of you have the Zohar already. Okay, go in and get. You want to reveal the light of love? Start shining love to all the people. Yes, even that nasty person. Shine light of love. Because again, you shine the light, it's going to come back to you. Imagine, metaphorically, because we know the Creator is not like a being, but it doesn't work like that opponent trying to tell you, well, you're going to send love out there, and then God is going to forgive that nasty person what they did. and God is going to give them all the blessings every day. No, that's not how it's happening. No, goes around, comes around. So if they behaved in a nasty way, the nastiness got to come back to them until they extract their light out of their darkness. But don't think that you're in the same position as them. So if you're extracting that light and you're shining the light of love, then love will go out there to everyone. It will wake up the love in the nasty people until they feel so much darkness and pain of being unloving that they'll have to act with greater love. Meanwhile, you set in motion cause and effect, that somewhere somebody's going to come to you. Some loving person, someone showing you love, whatever it is. If it's prosperity, send the light of prosperity to everybody. If you're channeling that light, means now that light is shining, cause and effect. It's got to come back to you somehow. I spoke to a guy yesterday. I was in Miami. Got a job out of nowhere. Was sitting there almost desperate. Started scanning the Zohar, the section for prosperity, sending the light for everybody on earth to have prosperity, prosperity, prosperity. All of a sudden somebody called him up and said, hey, I heard you're looking for a job. I have a job for you. Now, the opponent's telling you, because I can hear your voices, coincidence. Right? Chaim's just telling you that because he wants you to have the Zohar and this or that and other thing, but just a coincidence. You know what? Maybe. But if you have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 coincidence, two things happening around the Zohar like that, whether it's health, peace, love, prosperity, protection from earthquakes, fires, hurricanes, things, at some point you got to say it must be something to it. Must be something to it. So whatever you send out there is what you're going to receive. Like attracts like, not opposites. So whatever you're missing, step into the darkness, feel it. Sometimes that's our problem. Our hearts are so closed we don't feel it. And if we don't feel it, why bother? Too many of us, the heart is blocked. Why? All the justified reasons. You were in relationship with somebody, you had a good friend, whatever it was, and then they stepped on your heart, they broke your heart, they cheated on you, so you close up your heart so you won't be hurt anymore. But do you realize if you build a wall around your heart, it's not that people can't come in. The love you're looking for and the love that you want to express and feel and manifest can't go out either. So the same thing. God put prosperity, 100% prosperity, abundance inside you. But if you've blocked it because you say, well, the economy's bad, or you had this job and you got fired, you're too old, you're too this, you're too that, you don't open the wall, the light of prosperity doesn't go out, the light of prosperity can't be manifest. It's a simple idea. It's just hard to work on because we're so trained to keep the walls closed. So we got to start realizing we have it all inside of us, it's just waiting to come out. So yes, embrace, face your challenges, face the darkness, because without facing the challenges, you can't find where your light's hiding. I don't know if they're so happy over here. It's tough. It's tough. I know it's tough. Okay. This is why Rav Ashlag has reminded us, the founder of the center, the greatest Kabbalist probably in the last 500 years, he says, a truly spiritual person, and now you understand why. The truly spiritual person is hunting for their mud, their darkness, their blockages. Because now you understand, right? When you're looking for that paper that's so important to the meeting, but you can't find it right away, what do? Do you just say, oh, well, what the heck? Or do you start searching everywhere in your house? You don't give up. You know the paper is there. You know you had it yesterday. You just don't remember where you put it. So you'll open all the drawers. You'll look around. You'll ask everybody in the house. You won't just give up. So what about the light of your soul? What about eternal bliss? Why do we give up so easily on that? Well, look, I've tried 100 times and that's it. Try 101. Try 102. If you know it's there, keep going. You just have to find it. Put on those goggles. Be easier to see. Use the tools. Use the tools. That's what we're teaching people. Like attracts like. Whatever you'll put out there. So if you put out discouragement, guess what's going to show up? More reasons to be discouraged. You put out encouragement, more reasons to be encouraged. What's the difference? Okay. If you're walking a mile, two people walking a mile, one as they're walking is counting how much further they have to go. right? They walk a tenth of a mile, all their count is 9/10, 8/10, 7/10. The other person walking the same mile, but now is counting, wow, I've walked 1/10 of a mile, keep going. Wow, I've walked 2/10 of a mile, keep going. I know I'm going to get there. Which one at the time they reach the mile is going to feel better? The one that's counting what they've achieved, not what they're missing. They're both walking the same mile. They're both going the same process, the same path. But one is going to enjoy the path and the other is going to be miserable until maybe the very end. And the way it usually works, that opponent in their head is going to stop them maybe 100 feet from the finish line. Because all they're counting is what they're missing, what they're missing, what they're missing, what they're missing. So they may not even go all the way because they'll get overly discouraged. So this is why for us the emphasis is, remember, you're filled with the light of God. Nobody is not filled. We may not always be expressing it. You see a lot of people out there who are expressing hatred, anger, whatever, greed, etc. Doesn't mean they're missing the light in their soul. It means they haven't discovered that they have the light in their soul and extracted it to shine it out. So if you think like we're talking about, if you go into your darkness and you pull out light, then when you leave that mud puddle, what's shining from your eyes? Brighter light. So then the next challenge comes along, it's easier to see because you're already shining light. You don't have to have that first, oh my God, darkness, and then step into the darkness. You're already shining light ahead. And every time you pick up sparks of your light of your soul and you're letting them shine by revealing them through what we call uncomfortable sharing, because it's uncomfortable to send forgiveness to the nasty person. It's uncomfortable to act humble in the face of ego and all of that. Not easy. But as you do that, then when you walk away, your world is brighter. You see the more light side of life, not the dark side of life. Like the veil keeps getting thinner and thinner, so you see more of the light that's existing here that we covered up when we pulled that first curtain. It's all in our hands, friends. It's not anybody else. So you've got to let yourself feel okay with falling. Now, I just want to make sure it's clear. That doesn't mean you're going to look for ways to jump, and create more chaos. No, we have enough chaos already. So just start facing it. Find the person you don't like, shine light on them. Find the situation you feel is overwhelming or helpless, and go in with the light. That we can do. But don't run away from your darkness, because that's where the next blessing is hiding. That's where your next piece of happiness and joy and all the good is hiding, is in that darkness. So, what's our affirmation? I commit myself to behave with, what's that word? Greater. Does that mean you had none? No, greater. So whatever you did, there's greater. How are you going to do that? How are you going to show greater love, compassion, and kindness if you're only looking at loving, kind, and compassionate people? No, you got to find the person you don't love. Now you can shine greater love. You got to find the person who he said like you don't like. Now you can send compassion. You got to find people or places that you feel unkind and to act with greater kindness. Now you understand this in a different way. If you don't step into that darkness or that discord or that disarray, how do you create more blessing in your life? Okay. Let me give you another way of, now that you've got these new Kabbalah night vision goggles, so think of the people that you have discord with, think of the situations that are terrible, think of whatever you think of what's going on in that world, out in the world out there that you think is so discordant and terrible and so chaotic. Put on those glasses and think with me. Before there was Adam and Eve, and I've said this a few times, but we have to keep reminding ourselves because we don't think that way. Read your Bible. Even in the literal Bible it says, the first thing that came in this world was one being. There weren't two. There wasn't even Adam and Eve. It was just one being, which was the totality of all the souls that would ever and have ever existed. Then it was split into Adam and Eve. So now, step into the discordant situations that you're feeling, that you see, put on those goggles, and then see with me that there's only one soul. That when you're looking at those people, they're actually your teammates. They're actually on your side. They're actually a real part of you. There's only one force that we are in opposition with, that negative voice in our head that's telling us we're not good enough, be judgmental, be angry, be fearful, have guilt and shame, live in the mud of a pity party, all those things. That's our only enemy. You put on those Kabbalah glasses, you will see, like some people do see. You'll see, whether you want to call it the string of our soul that connects everybody, that you realize then all the more clearly, viscerally, that if you hate that person, you're hating yourself. If you're doing something screaming at that person, you're screaming at yourself. If you're jealous of that person, you're jealous in yourself. When you see it, it changes your whole vista. So you and I are learning how to start it in our consciousness at least. We have no opponent in a physical body. We have no enemy in a physical body. And again, doesn't mean you have to hang out with everybody or you have to agree with what they're doing. But they are not the enemy. What's the first three words? Somebody say it. Consciousness is everything. So the consciousness of the hate, that's the problem, not the hateful act. The hateful act came when there was a hateful consciousness influencing in the brain. The act of greed came from the thought of greed. Nobody acts without a thought, without a metaphysical influence. That's our enemy. Is that parasite we planted, that one opponent that we collectively put inside of every human being on earth. Put on your glasses, you'll see we're all one. Put on the glasses, you'll see, yes, I want to connect to the light in their soul, because in another way, it's a part of my soul. So when we said those sparks, right, are in that mud, in one aspect, in another frame, it's in that person. The person who jumps in front of you and screams and yells at you, pushes your angry button. Yeah. They're the ones say, here, ha, 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 I've got your spark of soul over here. But the only way you're going to extract it is not by hitting them. Send them light of forgiveness, tolerance. They can't help, but that spark of light comes back to you. Because it's your soul. You just let them have it in some previous action of anger, jealousy, fear, whatever. You threw it out there. But it's on one of those rubber band type things, so somebody's got it and it's coming back to you. But now you have to extract it from them. Otherwise, you gave it back to them. It's not so complex. And if we let it be simple, it's easier to apply. It's easier to apply. So let me give you a couple. Okay. So let me, this was a story I just heard and then we'll close up. One of the great Kabbalists of history, Rabbi Akiva, if you know the name, he lived 2,000 years ago. Anyway, he was basically ultimately revealing 100% of his light. One of the highest souls. So he could look at people and he could see everything about you, your past life, what you were thinking, what was going on. So the story goes like this, pertinent to today's message. So he's teaching his students, and this very negative man comes by. Everybody knew this guy basically had a list of 20 things he's going to do that day, every day, to do bad to people. Right? Everybody knew him. So this guy comes along and he's passing by where Rabbi Akiva is teaching his students, about the light, what we call Kabbalah, all of this. And all of a sudden Rabbi Akiva looks at this man and says, wow, this man over here, he is so glowing with light. And all of his students who knew who he was thinking, what? How can you say the guy, wakes up in the morning, his joy is to go do, bad things, and he's got a list. So he says, please call him over. So they go, whatever reason, he comes over to Rabbi Akiva. He says, tell me. He says, you are so glowing with light. What did you do? And even the guy looks, he says, what are you talking about? I have a list of 20 things. I hurt this person, I cheat this person, I do these bad things to this one. That's what I do every day. That's all I do. He says, no, think something. And the guy thinks and he says, I had a list of 20 things. I did the first 8. I came to number 9. I said, some reason I just had the thought, you know what? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. And I went on to number 10. And he says, that's it. That's it. That one thing that you were going to do that you did not do revealed the light that I can see shining from you. So you understand, we can't see it all the time. Hopefully you'll feel it. You'll start to feel a little more. But as it's going to be uncomfortable to send the nasty person light or to forgive that person or whatever it is. But after you do it, it's going to feel amazing. As long as you don't let that opponent in your head keep going back. Why did you do it? Why did you do it? Why did you do it? No, appreciate the light you got. Appreciate that it's going to go out and come back. More blessing come back, more blessing come back, less chaos. That's what we want to understand. The point of the story is even the little things we do. So there's 10 people you dislike. From 1 is the least, 10 is the worst. Start with number 1. Start with number 1. The person you dislike the least, start scanning your Zohar, send them light, wish them well, whatever. Just envision a beam of light coming out of your heart and soul to that person. Let it be. Okay, so a piece of light is revealed. But relative to the darkness you're in, right, of what's still remaining of your potential, all of a sudden it's like Rabbi Akiva, wow, glowing so bright. And then pick the next and the next and the next. Just keep going till you have no darkness and you're in the light. When you're in the light, who could hurt you? Who can bring darkness into the light? Doesn't happen. So our job is just to be light. So where we've fallen, now we understand, is our greatest gift. Our greatest gift are the dark spots in our life. But you have to do the uncomfortable actions of sharing. Why? Because it helps prove, quote unquote, prove metaphorically to the universe that you really mean business. Because it's easy. Everybody can say, yeah, of course, I'm kind, I'm compassionate, this and this and this. But unfortunately, as we know about those fair weather friends we've had in the past, they say they're friends, they act like they're friends until we need them, until the one challenge, and then they're gone. So we have to do uncomfortable sharing to prove to the universe that you know the light is hiding in the darkness. And that you have such a huge desire to get back all the sparks of your light, of the light of your soul. Bring them back into your life to support you in your transformation, in your elevation, in your growth. To expand the light that you're revealing so you can see more and more of peace, love, kindness, happiness, joy, etc. So that you're now taking your pieces of chaos, turning them into order. Taking your pieces of darkness and enlightening them, turning them to light, and taking your pieces of hell on earth and converting them and transforming them into heaven on earth. God bless. Okay. Thank you. So I wish I just didn't know how to do it technologically to do it here, but some of you have heard, this last weekend there was, and I don't know, okay, there was what they called this Day of Hate. I don't know if any of you heard it. There was a Day of Hate. So the center, you know who we are. So we decided to create what we call a wave of love. So from last Friday, it's still going on now. I mean, it's been going on technically for as long as the centers existed, but really focused in this way. So people have gone all over Florida. We have people in Santo Domingo, Texas, and other parts of the world that have been going out and handing out mostly these little pocket-sized Zohar, a piece of the Zohar, sacred Zohars, if you know what that is. It's the Aramaic of the entire Zohar, to bring beacons of light to people, a wave of love. So we've got like hundreds of pictures. They handed out police, fire, hospitals, people on the street, right? They were handing out to homeless people. They were handing out to, people they meet on the street because everybody's looking for more light. So it's creating a wave of love, which is light. So, you can go on Kabbalah.com. If you look up the Zohar Project, you probably have testimonials and pictures there also. But I will figure out, maybe with the help of my technologically inclined children, to put some of these pictures on my Facebook, on the Spiritual Sunday Facebook page, just so you can see. These are just regular people who go out and hand out Zohars to people because, if you spread enough light, darkness disappears. When there's no more darkness, then even the people who yesterday were doing bad stuff, they have no more power to do bad because we took away the power of the cosmos of darkness by turning it into light. So if there's no dark energy, so to speak, they can't do dark things. And we know, as we just talked about it, there's no real darkness. It's just light we don't see. Kabbalah glasses, or physically those night vision glasses, you see light everywhere. There's no place in the universe doesn't have physical light, how much more so than the spiritual light. We just need the eyes to see it. That's what we're learning. So ultimately is, every week, one, I want to just first appreciate all your support and your help in spreading this. Bringing people to come learn is one thing. The other thing is spreading the Zohar, which is the ultimate mission of the center. So when there's enough Zohar, there'll be no more chaos. So let me just put it here for those of you online. So I'd like to do for you here, it's a free will offering. Whatever you'd like to share with the center, just hold it in your hands. Those who are online with us, just meditate with us and then I just put the link on there so you can send it to us. We just want to bless it. We know money is a vessel, and what we put in it is what it's going to express out into the world and what's going to come back to us. So we always want to start with love, gratitude, and appreciation for all that the Creator's given us, all our blessings, and even for this wisdom, even the uncomfortable parts. Because that's the most important and impactful place that we can grow, where we have to share uncomfortably. Because as the Zohar says, light can't come out of the light. Light comes out of darkness and good out of bad. So we know that by empowering others, other parts of our soul with this wisdom, we gain greater strength, we take back more of the light of our soul, we activate those new sparks of light to shine in every area of our life because it's shining out of us. And so we also put our love and our blessings that through the projects of the center, we are literally reaching the souls of 8 billion people to awaken the ultimate, which is love your neighbor as yourself. That everyone will seek to support each other person rather than seeking their own support. And that way everyone will have everything. And so we're empowering this gift, this offering, that it reaches the maximum amount of people as quickly and as powerfully as possible. And therefore it will come back to us as quickly and powerfully as possible. And together we say, Amen. Amen. So we're going to do, don't leave, we're going to do our meditation. So those of you who are new, if you see this chart over here on your left, it's called the 72 Names of God. And it's based on the idea that the Hebrew letters or the Aramaic letters are primordial. They were not created by a human being. They simply are particles of the infinite light of the Creator. So they shine light, like a photon shines light in physicality. Nobody created a photon. We learn how to use them. We learn how to, channel them and things like that, but nobody created them. They came with a big bang. So too, these are particles of the light of the Creator. So since our eyes are the window to the soul, here, let me put it here for you. The one we're going to use today, and those of you online with us, Yud Chet Vav. Yud Chet Vav. They're three energy forces that as you combine them together, help us to reveal light through the darkness. So as we said today, there is no real darkness. It's just the light we haven't turned on yet. And so we want to just let these shapes be engraved in our mind's eye. And then if I can ask you, those of you here, just sitting comfortably in your chair, hands comfortably in your lap, feet flat on the floor. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment and exhale through the mouth. Just allowing yourself to relax. Let go of any extraneous thoughts, focusing on the light that's in you, all around you, comforting you, enveloping you. Allow yourself to feel as if you're supported in a cloud of light. Feel this radiant energy of unconditional love that is the essence of the light. And therefore it is the true essence of every human being on earth. And now let's together we envision the Yud Chet Vav, those 3 nanoparticles of the light of the Creator. Envision them above your head and see them glowing with the bright white light of the endless world. If you can, feel their vibration, the power to reveal light through the darkness, order through the chaos, unity through the discord, divisiveness. Now let's slowly bring the Yud Chet Vav through the top of your head. Let it shine its light as it's traveling from your head, down the neck, across the shoulders, all the way to the bottom of your feet. That your whole being, spiritually and physically, vibrating with the power of this sequence, Yud Chet Vav. Whatever's come to your mind, a place that you're in chaos or confusion, use the power of this name, Yud Chet Vav. In the head, the thoughts, and in the heart. Allow it to open up the gates of your heart, to let the light out. Open yourself up. 1, to extend greater love out into the world. And 2, it allows love, more love, to enter in. And in the thoughts, let the Yud Chet Vav help you focus on simply the voice of the light, your true voice of your soul in your head. Let it give you whatever message it has for you today. A message of how, most impactfully for now, you can step into the darkness and reveal the light. A place, a situation where today that specific light you need to move forward in your life is hiding. And wherever that is, whatever situation, envision that person, situation, that experience, and draw the antidote: love, kindness, forgiveness, apology, gratitude. Draw that spark of light from your heart now that you've opened the gate, and let it shine out to that person, that situation. That as you shine it, the darkness you are feeling and experiencing dissipates in the face of the light. You feel better. You have more guidance and clarity from the light of the Creator that shines out of you. A greater sense of peace and happiness, lightness, instead of the heaviness that you were holding. But now extend through that person, that situation, this beam of the Yud Chet Vav to the heart and soul of every human being on earth. Now that we are seeing more and more, there is only one of us on earth, that we are all interconnected. We're sending this light to bring light out of the darkness for every person. That you can feel some of your hell on earth becoming more heaven-like. As we expand this light, the clouds of darkness that have hidden the true Garden of Eden that exists becomes more and more revealed. More and more people being drawn into that Garden of Eden. Peace, love, kindness, compassion, unity. Acknowledge with appreciation the revelation that your soul has given you. Also acknowledge your own effort to be open and to listen to the true voice of your soul, and that you have the willingness and to take the action to let that light shine, however uncomfortable it may seem at first, knowing that the end of the story is you walk away with greater peace, clarity, guidance, more light, less darkness, more order, less chaos. Let this experience, this vision, be engraved in your heart, in your mind, in your eyes, that it will always be there. And commit yourself to continue on this path, embracing the challenges, seeing the gift in the darkness, and then revealing the light through the darkness. Greater love, kindness, compassion towards all human beings. And together we take one more deep breath, anchoring it, solidifying it inside of us, and then slowly exhale as you open your eyes. Ooh. Thank you for joining us. Thank you those who came out today. Thank you those online. Again, I appreciate, go on Kabbalah.com, explore a little bit if you haven't. You know, if you have had an experience with the Zohar, let me know, write to me. But most importantly, make sure that you're spreading them around to your family, friends, people you may even meet on the street. All right? God bless. Have a great day, a great evening, and look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel. that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.